Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm here with Mary, and she is down visiting here in Utah. So I was like, we have to do this because the last time we filmed it, didn't film it. So now we get to see her beautiful face. And also, we have special guests here, my little one. Mary is holding my little one, and we have another one right here. So if you see him running around, this is just a casual chat. And I thought it'd be fun to film this. So, anyways, last night we went to this event together, and there were quite a few people who were aspiring writers and authors. And one thing I was thinking was like, it takes a lot of confidence to publish a
It
book and to
does.
put it out there. And so I wanted to talk with Mary about confidence because if you guys don't know Mary, she's a really confident person. I thought we'd have some great discussions talking about how you can have more confidence as an author. So if you're not too distracted, Mary.
I think I have my little triplets right here. So, yes, I'd love to talk about confidence.
So what are some things that have helped you to be confident in your life, and how has that transmitted into writing as well?
I think some of the things that really, really helped me were first gaining experience. I was not as confident when I was a new writer as I am now because I've had more experience. And sometimes that means taking those risks and publishing something and having that leap of faith. And I always tell people the scariest part of writing is starting.
Yeah.
It's scariest to put your first book out there. It's scariest to, put yourself out on social media, to make that first video with showing your face. And that opens you up to judgment. And that is scary. But the more often you do it, the easier it becomes. So building community is huge. If I hadn't had, you and some of my other author friends, it would have been a lot more difficult because it is hard to find your people, find the people that like your type of book, find the people that really, really want to read your story, because if you try and market to everyone, you will be shot down, and that's very discouraging. So finding your correct audience that really loves your stuff, and then that does give you the feedback of, okay, there are people who want my book. There are people who want my stories. So that, and then finally, reframing thoughts. I know I talk about that a lot on my channel, but thank you. I love these. We're not going to put this near my hair, though. That looks stare. So reframing my thoughts, because if you're always thinking, no one wants to read my book versus I haven't found my audience yet, one is kind of discouraging, one is more motivating. And I think that that's a really big thing, both before and after you publish.
Yeah, and one thing you also talk about is to control what you can control.
Yes.
So you can't control, like, I can get X amount of readers or this many followers, but you can control, like, I'm going to write this much and I'm going to put this book out. You can't control that. And I think that also helps with your confidence. And I actually did a video about having more confidence, and I talked about starting. Now, what kind of tips do you have for people who are just like, when we tell them to just start, how can you help?
One of the easiest ways, I mean, we're writers, we love doing research. And so going around and looking at different people on social media, researching different things, going to workshops, because knowledge is power. And for some people, indie publishing is not the right choice. And for some people, traditional publishing is not the right choice. For some people, small press, so figuring out what works for you at that stage in life, right? Because different people, different stage in life, it's going to look different. So figuring out who is similar to me, who can I see where this type of publishing is working very well, and just finding your community. Sometimes that means, because I think a lot of new writers come into this thing, they need the validation of others, and that's where they struggle to find their confidence. And so when you can come in and say, okay, what stories do I like? How can I connect with those authors? That's how I found a lot of my writing friends. Was I started reading a lot and was like, okay, which books do I like? Let me reach out to those authors. And indie authors are usually very open to hearing from readers. They really enjoy that. And so when I came in as, hey, you know what? I love your books and they have a similar style to mine. I aspire to do plot twists like Abigail Manning. I aspire to have, cozy feels like Sarah Barron. I aspire to have prose like Camille Peters. All of those things not only inspire me and push me to be a better writer, but they are also really good at building that community, because then those people are becoming my friends and sharing their own tips and tricks and things like that. And that really helps with confidence. Thank you. So bad at towards it. Like,
I love that. We're in multi-author
Yes.
collaborations together, and I feel like that really boosted me. It's like, wow, I'm a part of this community,
Yeah.
and it just really changed the whole game. So
You have people to cheer you on.
yeah,
You get to cheer on others, and that's really motivating. And that
yeah,
really does help you be like, I'm doing the right thing.
mhm,
Surrounding yourself like, hey, there's other people doing this. And that's what people do in any type of hobby, career, is you surround yourself with like-minded people.
yes,
And, it's like the saying, you become like the 5 people you hang out with most.
yeah,
Start hanging out with awesome people. You'll
yes.
be an awesome person.
What else do you feel like in your life has helped you to become more confident? Because obviously you have been doing things before you were a writer
Mhm.
that I think have helped. I definitely have, and I shared that in my other video of how playing the piano has helped me to be more confident because you learn to perform on to the states of other people and let them know too. So how can you just get confidence maybe in your life that will help in your writing and your author life?
Developing resilience and developing the ability to accept feedback, accept criticism, and being able to look at something objectively. So if you look at your writing as this is a part of my soul, and if someone criticizes that, they're criticizing my life, they're criticizing me personally. A lot easier to be torn apart by any negative review, any someone who didn't like your book. But if you're looking at it as, hey, this is my business, sometimes I'm going to make great business decisions and sometimes gonna make some mistakes. And it's okay to make mistakes. And so learning not only in writing, but in all areas of your life, I can make mistakes and the sun will still come up tomorrow. It's like Annie, the sun will come out. So think of like that, where it's just like, you know what? It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Am I a perfect parent? No, absolutely not. But I keep trying. I keep showing up for my kids, and I've learned so much. And then just taking more risks. And I remember a quote that said, live boldly. And I love that because it used to be that I was afraid of looking stupid to other people. I was afraid of, failing at something. I was afraid of doing so many different things because I might be bad. And finally, I was like, you know what? It doesn't even matter if I'm bad. That looks fun. It looks like a great thing to do. So I
Yeah.
tried, flying trapeze and fire breathing and all these different things. And I love it. Am I the best at what? No, I'm probably one of the worst people out there. But it is super fun, and it's giving me all these experiences and teaching me, like, if you want to chase a dream, chase it hard. And you'll make mistakes along the way. That's okay.
Yeah, that was another thing I wanted to talk to you about is how do you not care what people really think about you? Because I feel like that's a really big thing with confidence. And social media, I think, makes it even worse that you feel like, oh, I have to be perfect and everything. So how do you just not care?
It's almost like it's just part of the job. One of the things that really helped thicken my skin was being a disability advocate for 12 years, because no matter what the outcome is, someone's going to hate me. If I am there, I always try for a win-win where everyone walks away happy, but a lot of the times someone's going to hate my guts walking out of there, and I have to be okay with that, and I have to be so confident with, like, you know what? I know that what I'm doing is right. I will be able to sleep well at night, and even if someone doesn't agree with that, I have to be okay with that. And that really made me go back and focus on, like, what are my priorities? What do I want out of my life? And if I'm chasing that, it doesn't matter what other people think. So a lot of times with trolls, I mean, I've had, extended family members that are just a little bit nuts. And it's almost like you go into that expecting that there's going to be people who are nuts. And it's like, you know what? Whoever in this room, after we have dinner with this crazy family member, whoever it is, then when we leave, we'll all get ice cream, and whoever they were meanest to gets a double scoop. Yes! And it's almost like you're looking forward to that, like, it's gonna be me. It's gonna be me getting that double scoop today. All right. So kind of the same thing with all my trolls, where anytime I get a negative comment, I'm like, yes, this is gonna be such great content, because a lot of the stuff that I get from my trolls, that's my best. Those are some of my reels that do the best. And I'm like, it's giving me new followers. So I'm like, man, I feel like I should be thanking them. Like, every time they give me a negative comment, a negative review, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
nailed it.
So it really goes back to mindset, right? Like,
Yes.
instead of just taking everything personal, you just have to let it go. And that's sometimes hard for people, I feel like.
It is. And again, it was me being a disability advocate for 12 years. That is a long time of fielding a whole lot of criticism and a whole lot of hate. And it took me a long time to develop my thick skin.
Yeah, I know for me, I feel like I've changed so much from last year to this year because last year I was like, I cannot read any 4-star reviews. Like, I don't know why they like cut down a lot of stars, you know. But now I'm like, oh, I'm actually really glad for those reviews. Those are actually really helpful, and I went along, and
Oh, yeah.
they're actually really nice too. Like usually it's just a little thing, you know, they didn't like. And so I feel like as an author, and I'm saying this because this happened to me as an author, maybe you're just gonna grow. Maybe in the beginning you can't read the reviews. It's too discouraging, but just like allow yourself to grow as an
Yes.
author. And then as you get to building that thicker skin, then you can start reading those reviews and start learning from them.
Then you go down and read the 1-star review.
Yeah, like start growing up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that that's a big thing where a lot of like the 3-4-star reviews, they give great feedback.
Yes.
They give great feedback of like, hey, you know what? You know, your prose was rushed at the endings. Like I know I always rush my endings because I'm like, I just want the reader to like
Yeah, I
be
know.
in a stupor at the end of the book. But readers are like, I actually need a little bit more closure. I'm like, okay, you know what? That's valid feedback. I can work on that. That's a great idea. Or when they're giving tips of like, oh, you know what? I really liked this story, but it could have been edited better. So my first 3 books, I was like, you know what? Those do need to be re-edited. So I pulled them from the shelves and I was like, you know what? I can go through, I can re-edit these. And it's been such a great learning experience. And it's a way for me to look at my earlier work and I'm like, I have grown so much. So instead of looking at it and being like, oh, I'm such a bad writer, I just need to give up. It's like, I have grown so much. I'm going to keep growing so much. That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's a positive way to look at it because that's how I feel too. It's like I look at my first books, I'm like, yeah, those were not my best work. But the latest book that I wrote was like actually my favorite book that I wrote. And last night they kept asking, "What's your favorite book?" And it's like actually my favorite one is the one I'm writing right now because like it's so much better
Yes.
than the other ones that I
Yes.
wrote. And so I think as an author, you just have to start and then just enjoy the journey. And then as you get more experience, you just get better.
And I think that happens with any field. Like you look at any football player, any artist, and you show them what, oh, like, look at this. What for when you were younger, they're all like, oh my gosh, like, please don't judge me by that.
Yeah, and everybody starts at 0. Even Mary started with 0 followers. Yeah, she has 25K something followers now, but even you started
At 0, and I had like 100 followers for like a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea what I was doing to social media. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah, and even my author too. So I've had 3 videos posted already at the time that we're filming this. And there's like 5 views, and I'm like, okay, you know, everyone starts somewhere.
Everyone starting at the beginning.
Yeah, so we just have to just go with it. You know, it's part of the journey, and I think that's something that with confidence, you start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. So,
And I think confidence is attractive. When people see someone who's confident, that is very attractive. They want to read those books. They want to follow that person. They want, because they're like, I want to be confident too, you know? And there is a big difference, I will say, between confidence and arrogance.
yes.
Because I've met several writers who are brand new baby authors or, you know, whatnot. And they're just like, "Wow, I can give you lots of advice. I know all about writing." And I'm like, oh, sugar plum, you don't know anything yet. I don't know anything yet.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm like, no. So I'm still a novice.
Yeah.
And then when I have someone coming to me, like I had someone who was telling me off for about how I do disability inclusion after 12 years working as a disability advocate, having 2 children with disabilities. And they're like, yeah, you need to take disability inclusion advice from me, disability advocacy advice from me. And I was like, I will not. But they had all of the confidence in the world. So there's a line between confidence and arrogance. And
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think that confidence is very attractive. And also, it is important to be humble and confident at the
Yes.
same time. Like, there is a sense of humility and that you're always willing to learn. And I think another thing that could help with humility is knowing who you really are. I think this has really helped me in my life is to know that, like, yeah, I am an author, but really,
I'm just a person.
yeah.
Just a person, just like you.
And also just knowing your divine identity too. It's like, yeah, I'm a daughter of God, so my worth is not determined on how many books I sell or
How many
on-
followers I have, how
Yes,
many.
So I think that's really helped me just to have confidence. And I think there's a difference too when you have that kind of confidence that you know who you really are. Because it does, like I said, like you just don't get discouraged as easily. You just stay positive because you know that it doesn't matter in the end.
Yeah, and I love talking about humility and confidence because I think that there's this false narrative that gets perpetuated of like, oh, I need to be meek, I need to be humble, I need to think poorly of myself. I was like, no. Mm-mm. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking about yourself less, focusing outward, focusing on other people, helping other people But that does not mean that I am like, oh, now I'm probably not good at anything. I'm like, that is not humility. If you think that's humility, that's not humility.
Yes, I agree. And actually, there's a quote that I really like. It's from Thomas S. Monson.
Mhm.
And it says, if you want to be a light to others, you have to glow yourself.
Yes.
And I think that inner glow really comes from one, knowing who you are as a child of God, and two, living your life in alignment with God's commandments and also trying your best to do God's will for you. Because I think when you're not living the commandments and things, I feel like your confidence just it's not very good. You have like a temporary worldly kind of confidence, but not like a divine confidence that comes from God. And so I think that's another thing that really helps with confidence.
And it shows when you're seeking that validation from
Yeah.
an exterior source instead of validating yourself and being like, you know what, I've got this. I have confidence that, the Lord will help me grow. The Lord will help me be better. I have to put in the work, but I'm doing okay. I'm doing the best I can versus seeking that of like, oh, all my self-worth is based on my reviews.
Yeah.
All my self-worth is based on how many followers I have or how many words I can write.
Yeah.
And it's like, girl, you got to be confident in yourself and guys, girls and guys.
And like she said, there is such a thing as self-validation. I think that's a really important thing that I learned when I was going through like a really hard time in my life is that sometimes as an author, it's going to feel like there's nobody. Even though you have an author community, it is pretty isolated. You have to feel confident enough in your work and in yourself to put it out there. And there is such a thing as being able to validate yourself. Don't be afraid to be proud of your work, to be grateful for the work that you've been able to do, and also be grateful for that point in your journey. Yes, it's not going to be perfect. I think a lot of people get stuck on perfection. Like it has to be a certain bar, but it's like there's a certain point where you just need to put it out there and just be grateful for this part of your journey. And maybe this book is not going to be, a #1 bestseller. Maybe it's not going to be that debut that crushes it, but you just need to be grateful that you've been able to write this and that you can get this out there at this point. So
Oh, absolutely.
I think that really helps with confidence too.
Absolutely.
All right. So you already shared a motto about live boldly. Is there any other quotes or scriptures that inspire you to not just only have confidence, but to know who you are and to just keep moving forward?
I think that one of my favorite scriptures, I can't quote it, it's basically like, you can choose if you are going to be happy. You can choose if you're living the commandments. You can choose if, if you don't want to live the commandments. And one of my favorite things is I don't have to, I get to. I don't have to, I choose to. And realizing like, I don't have to do writing. I don't have to do social media. I don't have to do a newsletter. I'm choosing to do those things. And that's very empowering. It's like, I am taking control of my life. I am determining my destiny. I am determining all these things that if I feel like, oh, I have to, or like what I was saying about only making goals that I can control, I am not going to end up resenting people like, not enough people followed me. Not enough people bought my book. That's very much placing the blame outward.
Yeah.
And I don't like that because it makes it like other people are determining my happiness. And I don't want that. I want to determine my happiness, which is why I only do goals that are, I'm going to write for 3 hours this week. I can control that. I'm going to try and I'm going to message 5 authors to set up newsletter swells. I can control if I message them or not. I can't control if they decide. I can control if I message. So really setting goals that you can control, basing your validation on things from yourself, still being open to constructive feedback, because there are readers that do great feedback. They do wonderful, kind feedback. So taking that and then just recognizing that sometimes a troll is a troll. And you just kind of plaster their ridiculous stuff up there and be like, come on, guys. Like, that's trying harder.
Yeah. And you just need to move on. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like by spending energy on that, you're using your own energy, that you could put elsewhere.
Exactly. And that's giving someone else power over me. And I don't want that.
Yep. I love that. And I think another scripture that's helped me with the confidence that you reminded me of was there's a scripture that says to be anxiously engaged in a good cause. And I've had conversations with my husband about this, that there's a reason that they use the word anxious because it is uncomfortable to put yourself out there. It is uncomfortable to grow, but when you're uncomfortable and you're feeling anxious, those are the times that you can grow the most.
Yes.
And those are the times that you can look back and say, I really did grow from that. And my confidence grew from that because I learned something that I was supposed to learn. And so I don't think it's a bad thing to be anxious. We're supposed to be anxiously engaged in a good cause. And I think writing and sharing your stories, of course, is a good cause. So you're going to have times that you feel uncomfortable and anxious about putting your work out there, but just know that's part of the journey. And Heavenly Father uses that to help you grow and to learn something that He needs you to learn.
And being anxious means that you care. You care about the outcome. You care about your work, and opening yourself up to risk. It's like people dating,
Yeah.
If you never put yourself out there,
Uh-huh.
if you never take those risks,
Yeah.
you'll never find your Prince Charming, but you're going to kiss some frowns along the way. Like,
Some sakes. Yeah.
but then you end up knowing like, oh, thank goodness this was the person, and thank goodness I didn't end up with that other person. Or,
Yes.
it's so funny how life is. We all make
Yes.
mistakes.
Yes.
All make
And
mistakes.
I also love what you shared, though, because I think the verse right after that says that we have, but God gives us to be agents to ourselves, to act, not to be acted upon. And that really goes back to what she shared of, don't let other people control you. You get to decide, you get to choose how you're going to react to things. And so hopefully you are choosing to act instead of letting people decide what you're going to feel.
I love.
So, all right. So I think that's a lot that we covered. Is there anything else you want to share?
So I think that that's just about it. Look up how to reframe your thoughts, guys. If you're struggling with thought work, look up how to reframe your thoughts. Please do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and things like depression and anxiety, I see that in a lot of authors, and I just want to give you guys some encouragement that it is okay to be anxious. It's God says to be anxiously engaged in a good cause. So go out and serve, go out and, write your story. Just don't give up. Get up every day and try to stay motivated and inspired. Remember that you're a child of God and that just because of that fact that you can do anything. Okay, I think that's it.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so here for it.
You too. She did awesome, guys, with these children talking and also grabbing all the toys. So thank you.
Like I'm a mom. Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys like it, make sure you subscribe. I post videos like this every week. And if you guys want to follow up Mary, be sure to follow her. I'll put her information in the description below. And
Sometimes I'm funny.
yes, she is awesome. She has the greatest reels. And also her books are really good. We also did an interview. I'll post it down below on how to craft morally great characters. You guys definitely need to check it out. But yeah, thank you so much again for watching. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.